Welcome back.
Okay, we are back to the Couch Coach. Ow. Your Thursday morning pit stop into the greatest sport on this planet. If you are a fantasy guru, somebody that just simply loves football, the electrifying gridiron, I promise you, you have come to the right place. Indeed. The reception on this show is just crazy right now.
Loving it.
You know what I mean? I got people that I don't regularly talk to just text me all the time now.
Yep.
They think I'm smarter than, everybody else, and they ask me questions. They ask me about their fantasy football now, and guess what? They're probably right, because I am probably correct. You know what I mean? This is the Couch Coach, guys. Please go follow us at The Couch Coach Club. That is at The Couch Coach Club on all social media websites. Please talk to us. Send us your feedback. We really do love that. On the Couch Coach, we run this just like a football game. We have our intro. We got our first quarter. We got our second quarter. We got our halftime, third quarter, fourth quarter, and then we're going to win the game. Without further ado, let's start the Couch Coach.
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
You know how we like to pop it off with just a simple little recap of what the hell happened. Nui, what the hell happened this weekend?
This was a tough week. A lot of disappointing matchups,
It was.
unfortunately. I got to go to the Steelers and the Ravens, man.
Okay.
That was a Mike Tomlin game. The boys just scrapped.
They did.
Kept scrapping. Block punt for a TD. Fumble last second from Lamar, unfortunately. Turned it over. Kenny Pickett, 2-minute drill. Touchdown. It's a big, unfortunate opportunity. It's really, to me, I feel like the Ravens, they really should have won this game, and it wasn't even close. 7 drop passes, which were equated to probably 180 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That's a fact.
So for people who say Lamar can't throw, wrong again. All he did was deliver the mail.
I don't
It's
think
unfortunate.
anyone's saying that.
They're still chattering.
Still chatting about it.
Still chatting about it.
What about that really good stat that we saw about Lamar today?
He is the number one, I would say, either 1A or 1B, because we just saw another stat line with who.
Yes.
In passes that travel over 10-plus yards. He is the number 1 rated passer in the NFL. Now, imagine if those guys catch that. We're raving about this. We're always going to point these gems out, right? Yeah. So shout out to Burn on that for dropping that knowledge. I appreciate it. But there's another guy who is still just as dominant and accurate.
Just in a different way. Just in a different way, but that's okay.
Are you done with your what the hell happened?
I am, man.
Okay,
you have at it.
We're not even going there.
I got your back on that one, B.
Look, here's my what the hell happened. Ron Rivera, you need to look yourself in the mirror. There's no real reason why you dropped that game to the Chicago Bears.
Damn.
Now, I'm going to talk a little light, and I won't get too heavy on the little Cubbies because we do play them this week, and they could absolutely ruin the Vikings season. They could ruin.
They just scored 8 touchdowns in 2 games.
That is so disrespectful.
I think they're a little grizzly bear right now.
They could completely end the Vikings season this week, so I won't be too heavy on the Bears. But for the Commanders, see, I don't know if people understand what happened. You drafted a cornerback early, right? He's supposed to be your prized possession.
Yeah.
You bench him before this game. You bench him because you said that he wasn't ready for the game, yet he's been having a phenomenal season as a rookie cornerback. You bench him, and DJ Moore goes off for 230 yards.
Thanks, fantasy. I had him on my
DJ did that the week before, too. He was going to do that regardless.
He didn't go for 230, but he went off. And at the end of the day, Ron Rivera, you got to look at yourself and say, you know what? Am I a good head coach? Because I haven't felt it since you walked in there, in that building. You know what I mean? There's been a few bright spots here and there, but for you to lay an egg like you did and they drop 40 on you, the Chicago Bears dropped 40 on you. Justin Fields looked like the best quarterback in the league for a second. DJ Moore looked like the best wide receiver in the league for a second. It's unacceptable. That's what the hell happened, and I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Do you think that Bears were strictly driven off of emotion?
I don't care if
they've done this 2 weeks in a row.
I don't care.
Dick Buckus man. They're driving off some different.
I don't care what. I don't care what the Bears were driven off of. You know
not even a little bit.
How many? There's 4. Not 1, not 2, not 3. 4 first rounders on that D line for the Commanders. Can I see that defense be dominant?
They were not
at all.
I just haven't seen it yet, and that's just unacceptable to me. Tim, who's your what the hell happened?
Yeah, first off, just to piggyback and back you up a little bit, I did tell the Commanders that if they lost to the Bears, they should take 2 weeks off and quit as an organization.
They should.
So, or be relegated to the XFL, perhaps.
It's time.
Maybe The Rock should make a call.
It's time.
Because that seems.
I mean, the name sounds
You have a new
XFL-ish.
name. You have a ugly name, ugly uniforms. Go to the XFL, have a good time. You might win. You probably won't, but maybe. You never know. All right, let's move on. We're not going to talk
Look like
about
any
the
given Sunday
expansion
jerseys.
team, right? I'm gonna go across the pond because I talked about the Bills last week as my Jekyll and Hyde, and here they go out again and prove me right with their bipolar performance across the pond in London.
Yeah.
They didn't show up until the fourth quarter
Didn't
of
look
this
good.
game where Josh Allen went completely crazy, but it was too little, too late. Let me go over just a few things, right?
Put them
They were
glasses
outgained
on,
by
man. Let 'em know.
almost 100 yards. They had 29 yards rushing in the ball game. When are they going to start to build a run game that doesn't
It's not
consist of Josh
sustainable,
Allen
man.
running
You've been
quarterback
talking about
sweeps?
that.
Well, it's unfortunate.
2 turnovers, 1 fumble, 1 pick. They lost the time of possession 38 minutes to 21 minutes. 11 flags and 41% on third down.
Wow.
Like, guys, if you're going to win that division and beat the Dolphins the way you did a couple weeks ago, and I get you went to London and Jacksonville's a home game for them. They spent the week there, but you should beat Jacksonville.
You got to do that.
They should be looking to
you
get
have
over
to.
you, and you let them just run all over you in London. That's embarrassing.
I think it's important that if you're gonna beat the Dolphins, you gotta be able to control the time of possession.
Have to.
In 38
You got
minutes
to
to
keep.
21,
You got to keep
that's-
17 off the
that's
field.
insane.
Period.
Yeah, and if you can't do that to Jacksonville, you're never going to be able to do that against the Dolphins.
No. not at all.
Now,
So-
you left out a little piece, and Jacksonville did play a home game because
I said that.
Yes.
I said that.
that is their home base over there.
Yes.
I said that.
Absolutely.
So it's a little
I'm with
unfair.
you. It's
Right.
a little bit.
And they were
But-
there for what, 2 weeks?
But you know what else?
Yeah, I mean-
I'll say this. I'm not too worried because Jacksonville, they don't get to play playoff games in London.
They don't.
So
Nope.
I'll give you
good
that.
luck. Next up, it's time to bring in our special guest.
Let's go.
We have a guy from The Ticket. His name is Jacob Detamore. He has his own college football show. He is my play-by-play commentator for the Grapevine Mustangs. I get to do analysis with him. He has the perfect radio voice. His dad is a longtime football coach in the state of Texas, so it comes with pedigree. Please welcome my friend Jacob Detamore to the
Let's
stage.
go, man.
Great. What's up, man?
Come on, dude.
Good,
Absolute
good,
pleasure
good.
to have you.
Nice throwback jersey there. Got the good old Ricky Williams.
Pleasure to have you.
Little aqua green there. I like it.
So we got a true radio personality in here.
Yes.
That is exciting.
Absolutely.
I do what I can.
So, I mean, we heard a little bit about your pedigree. I mean, a little bit about your show. Tell us a little bit more about your show. I mean, where can we find you?
I'm a co-host of the College Football Tailgate
Okay.
on Saturday mornings from 10 to noon on The Ticket. For those who aren't in Dallas, you can find it online at theticket.com.
Okay.
We also have an app, the Sports Day app. We team up with the Dallas Morning News here, and they
Awesome.
stream our stuff live on their app there. But I co-host it with Kevin Landrum, who I work with at the station, and Zach Barnett, who is the college football writer for Football Scoop.
Nice.
And
That's awesome.
I mean, we
That's
are
so cool.
we are a college football dedicated program. So we break it down every week for 2 hours, getting into the matchups. Because hey, look, the NFL, I love the NFL just like anybody else, but college football is the second most popular sport in this country.
That's a fact.
So don't debate
is
with
true.
Jacob
I'll give you
about college
Ever. I
football.
won't.
Jacob also has the distinct pleasure of working SMU games, and he gets to be at Cowboys practices after games collecting sound for the media. So he's in the room when Mike McCarthy is spewing all the BS he spews every week about what they're going to do better and all that kind of thing. And I'm being a little hard on the Cowboys today for obvious reasons.
Obvious
but,
reasons.
But Jacob, you get to do some really cool stuff.
I mean, I one of my jobs at the Ticket is what we call reporter duty. So yeah,
Okay.
I've been out at the Star usually at least once a week,
Nice.
talking to guys in the locker room. I'm gathering sound for the station, but yeah, I do see Coach McCarthy every week and get a little bit to watch what they'll let us watch, a little bit of practice when we're out there,
Right.
and talk to the guys. So I get some insight there. I'm not going to pump myself too much. Tim's doing a good job of it, good enough job of that for me. But look, the NFL is what it is. The Cowboys rule the roost in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and we all know that.
So, are you a Cowboys fan?
Yes, I am.
Well, I mean, with that being said, segment is what the hell happened. So,
To your team.
what the hell happened to your team
They
this
got
week?
their ass kicked from first quarter from the kickoff to the end of the game. That's
Tell
what
us how you
happened.
really feel.
Well, I mean, there's a
40
look, I
piece.
mean,
Look,
even
jump in.
Mike
2
McCarthy
feet.
talked about it after the game. I've listened to all the post game sound. He owned it.
Yeah.
They got
That's
owned
respect.
from the opening kick until the game ended. It was one of those nights. Most NFL teams have them. They got the crap kicked out of them by a very good football team out in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Is Dallas as bad as they showed on Sunday?
No.
God, I hope not.
But on Sunday night, they owned Dallas.
They're as bad as it
Are
can be.
we just that good?
You know, the only person that hasn't owned that loss
I do
is
think
Micah Parsons.
to answer your question, I do think the 49ers are the best team in the NFL right now. As we
appreciate
sit
that.
here
It's a
week
week-to-week
5.
thing, though. It's
It
fluid.
is.
As we
It's
sit
fluid.
here
It
week
is.
5, they
It
are the
is.
best team in the NFL.
It is.
With that being said, I mean, what the hell happened?
I mean,
over there?
42-10. I mean, I'm not gonna just rag the whole time on it, but it was a very good experience to watch them get their tails kicked, because we have a bunch of Cowboy fans who are unrealistic, unlike these realistic Cowboy fans. I
Right.
can respect. But if you think for 1 second you were going to blow out the 49ers at home when we have a 15-1 record in the past 3 seasons, and a guy who's on the hottest streak that we've ever seen since Ben Roethlisberger his rookie year.
It was
Right.
it was a thorough
crazy.
ass kicking.
I mean, you played your toughest opponent, and
Yes, I mean, that was a test.
that
man.
was your best win.
It really was. But here's my thing, and I start to dive into this a little bit more. Yes, our team is playing great.
Yeah.
But I don't want us to hit our peak so soon. That's what I'm nervous of.
This is one of those games. that
It's
you
one
can
of
do
those
that.
games, but when you hit a peak so fast, similar to your team last year, you guys were on a run. Kurt had his chains on, dancing, right? It's one of those moments. Just stay the course, keep everybody healthy. I love that I saw Mason run the ball, right? I think he had over 100
looked
yards.
good.
He looked really good, and I think that takes a lot of pressure off McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I think Brock Purdy distributing the ball. You don't know who's going to have the best game. You don't know. And to me, as a former quarterback, that's how you play the game. Everybody eats. And I think that's what Brock Purdy did very well. Really gave George Kittle a birthday present, right, with 3 tubbies, right? That's good, but I think he's very calm. He's poised. He's very humble about it. He understands the task at hand. I just don't want us to get too cocky to where going into another second quarter of the season, it could get shaky. And I really feel like going to Cleveland at home in their place is a trap game.
This is really
And we got to push through this.
this is interesting energy because he's actually like really humble today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get this yesterday on the quarterback huddle.
I didn't. I haven't.
I let him have it. I let him have it.
this
And then
is
I'm like,
not the
okay.
Brandon
I haven't.
that
I
I saw on
haven't
the
felt this
huddle.
vibe all year. So
As
this
a
is
Cowboys
interesting.
fan, if a Niners fan
gotta
was
chill,
coming at
bro.
you yesterday, you just had to sit there and take it.
Yeah, you could.
And I respected it because y'all would
I
have did the
told
same
Brandon,
shit to me.
Listen, I told Brandon between he and I before the game that I felt like it was possible that not only were we going to lose, but that we would get embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I had a feeling just because of past primetime games, you know, we're missing pieces on defense. Offense isn't really clicking, and the 49ers have been rolling. So I felt like we were either going to keep it close and have a chance to win in the
Right.
fourth quarter, or we were going to get blown out. And I told
Yeah.
you that before the game
My
started.
on-air prediction was that the 49ers were going to win, but I thought it was going to be a 3 to 7 point game.
Yeah, slugfest,
I
man.
honestly, and I'm basing this I'm basing it off what happened in the playoff game last year. I really did not think the Dallas defense would come out and play as poorly as they did.
They were terrible.
I thought you were going to give us more.
They were great.
And
I mean, what do
and
you-
look, you know what? I told you earlier. I'm actually tired of it, and
I'm
I'm not
gonna
gonna
chill
I'm not
on
gonna
this.
let people talk this way anymore. But if you didn't see it this weekend, I think the cat's out of the bag. I don't want to hear this. Brock Purdy is only a scheme quarterback anymore. That's bullshit. You know what I mean?
Complete.
There were some throws.
Whew,
We're texting each other, and Tim says, "You know what? Dak has never made that throw," and I agree. There was a couple of throws that were just special throws.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can't look at the intangibles. You can't look at who's the coach. You can't look at who's the weapons.
But all
What
those
is-
things matter.
they do matter. But what does your eye say?
To a point.
And at this point,
He's delivering the mail.
I can't keep trying to make an excuse for what my
Right.
eye is telling me.
Right.
My eye is telling me that this is a really good quarterback, and we're in a time right now where I don't know if there's that many good quarterbacks in the NFL.
Period.
He
There's
is a
better
good quarterback.
quarterback
There's
play.
no question he's a good
We're not
quarterback.
saying he's the best quarterback
Right.
in the NFL.
No, at all.
We're saying that the way he goes about his business is special in today's game.
Yeah.
Because he's not depending on his legs. He's not depending on other things that happen around him. He is actually making things happen. He's making checks at the line of scrimmage. He's bringing guys, he's moving guys around. He's changing routes. He's doing those little intangibles that guys that have been playing for 8-10 years aren't doing. And that to me is what is standing him apart. Yes, he plays in a great scheme.
And he also plays on one of the most talented teams in the NFL.
He does.
Jimmy
but the
didn't
thing
take
is,
advantage.
the
Trey
thing
Lance
is,
wasn't able to take advantage
Right.
of this.
Well, I mean, he was.
Brock Purdy is.
the thing is to me is as a
Sam
quarterback,
Darnold couldn't take advantage of this.
your
Brock Purdy
job is to deliver the mail. No one is going to judge you by your touchdowns or your passing stats. Your job is to get your team in the end zone. As a Cowboy fan, you can attest to the 11 commandments of a quarterback that Bill Parcells gave Tony Romo.
Facts.
That's your job.
And right now,
He is killing it.
he is Amazon delivery right now.
He's killing it.
Point blank.
30 piece. You're going to have to score more than 30 points to beat us. And that is the first time I can actually say that since like a Steve Young era.
It's not flashy, but it's
We can
efficient,
compete now.
and it's competitive.
We have
every
that.
time.
He's just a little bit more than a bus driver to me.
Yes.
I don't think he's driving a bus anymore.
No.
You know what I mean?
He saved Kyle
driving a
and
UPS
John
truck.
Lynch's tail because
That's
he can
facts.
go.
That's facts. Hey, okay, I'm not
What
drinking
can
that
Brown
much
do
more.
for you?
Yeah.
I had to let that out because it's been on my
Nice
chest.
job. That's a nice
It's
job.
been on my chest. I, had to let that out. But I mean,
appreciate that.
I want to hear from
Yeah.
you, Tim. I mean, what the hell happened to y'all?
I mean, there's not a lot to say. I think Jacob summed it up, and I'm going to talk about it in our next session. The Cowboys are in trouble, man. We got outplayed, we got outcoached, we got out schemed. It was all of those things. And then what really
Stem to
bothered me was
stern.
I didn't see any fight. Well,
Yeah,
There
that's
was no dogs.
There was no
fighting.
Oh,
fight.
no. By the fourth quarter, they were.
No, it wasn't.
they
It
were
was
checked
fourth
out.
quarter.
it was the eyes. Like even their eyes when they're on the sideline, they didn't look like
Dak
they were going to
gets that face sometimes where his eyes get like this big and he's on the bench
They
and he
do.
just
Oh,
kind of
he's
looks
just-
the
The
other way.
eyes you
They
saw
do.
was a team that realized that they were getting their ass whipped.
I think they've been
from
drinking
stem
the
to
Kool-Aid.
stern.
I think that the Cowboys players have been drinking the same Kool-Aid that I've been drinking, is that they were great. And Stephen A. talked about it today, and I usually don't agree with Stephen A. But I had to agree with him today. Because Micah Parsons, as much as I love Micah Parsons, is the one guy on that team that is not accepting this loss.
Right.
They're not that much
that's
better than
not
us.
But where was that dog on
Yes,
the
they are.
sideline
Hey,
walking
you know
around
what?
firing his team up? You're
he
down by 10.
He was getting
You need to
his ass
accept it,
kicked.
'cause
Like,
you didn't
it
play good
wasn't a
enough.
blowout the whole game.
So to me,
It was 28-10 in the
simple.
third quarter.
I don't think the Cowboys are
But
as
you still
bad
had-
as what
what
we
was it?
saw.
Right.
I think the 49ers
14-7
are as good as what we saw. I think the 49ers played their best game. We played our worst game.
Yes.
We play a game. I
don't think
it's
we played our
closer.
best game.
But if we have to
Dude.
play them in the playoffs, I
Name
have
a
no
game you
trouble.
played
No
better than that
confidence.
this year.
Well, let me.
I mean, obviously. but I feel like we missed some things. And one thing I look at is third down. That's the money down for me. You guys were what, 26%, 36%?
It was ugly.
Compared to our 56.
Yeah.
That's what I look at, man, because that's your money down. And I feel like they didn't arrive. They didn't convert to
A
get
couple
to
of those
first downs.
were penalty conversions.
Yeah,
But yes.
25 first downs to 8 first downs. They had the same amount of drives at 13 apiece.
We had 74 yards in the
I know.
first half.
Come on now.
That's not good. No NFL team should have 74 yards of offense in a half.
All right. Well, let me.
I mean, we
mean,
keep doing that every half.
Let-
We
let-
weren't
let
playing
me-
the
they got-
85 Bears out there. You know what I
They
mean?
got owned.
Let me
Yeah.
transition
It's a
to
bad day.
another team that's we're bad right now by the record, okay, but we're still the best 1-4 team ever.
You could be 5-0
Made.
right now.
Possibly.
Okay.
There's been
Ever.
some others, but yeah, maybe.
Ever right now, okay.
Definitely right now.
And the difference between what I saw in the Cowboy game is I saw Dak and I saw those eyes that he didn't look like he was ready to go win
I'm
a
just
ball
trying
game.
to get around that comment.
I
We're the
know.
best 1-4 team.
I know it. I mean, because
Because every game's been lost by a possession.
Somebody
have
has
the
to
title.
take it, right?
Somebody has to have the title. Here we are. We lost to 4 playoff teams. 2 of those
By
playoff
one
teams,
possession.
By one possession. 2 of those playoff teams just played in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The way we
You
dueled
got a
Pat
point.
Mahomes was exactly how I said it was. I think we were going to keep it close. There were times that he was a little shaken up. This was not an easy game for Pat
Right.
Mahomes. You know what I mean? I think the defense kind of showed that, hey, we can get after the quarterback. Travis Kelce, what a machine. Because when he went down, I said, oh, he's about to go on IR.
Yep.
And then he comes back.
I thought it was his Achilles.
He comes
the way
back and
fell.
he has 3 straight
man got the
huge
shot.
third down gains. This team is interesting. I thought we had a fighting chance to go make the playoffs, and I still do. But it's going to take Kirk playing out his mind, Kevin O'Connell calling some of the best games he's ever played because we don't have our best player.
Yeah, that
Justin
hurts.
Jefferson is now on IR for the next 4 weeks. So I want to see if KOC can put together a game plan to go beat the Cubs. We have to be able to go beat the Bears.
First of all, that's again insulting. The Cubs are a minor league baseball team that plays on the north side of Chicago.
sure.
Best
I
1 in
think
4
that
team.
is
That's like
insulting.
being the
For sure.
smallest
I
little
even
person
wore-
or
I
tallest
even
little
wore-
person.
I even wore my teddy bear, necklace for this episode.
When we beat y'all and your quarterback gets shipped out of town, what are you going to say?
I'm gonna say I can't wait for the draft.
Okay, fair
Caleb
enough.
Williams.
Because if we lose this game, I
Or
can't wait
you
for
want,
the
you want
draft.
6'4"
But
Johnny
point
Manziel?
blank, what the hell happened to us?
He's only like 6 foot, maybe.
We went out
6
and we
foot.
dueled the best quarterback in the league. We dueled one of the best teams in the league, and it came down to one possession, and we almost won it, but we didn't.
Sure.
On to the Bears. All right. That's the first quarter. This is a new segment here in the second quarter that I'm.
It was a long quarter.
Yeah, it was. I'm really interested in. This is called thin ice. There are a couple of teams that are just sitting on this small layer of ice, and if any wrong thing happens, they're gonna drown and they're gonna freeze. So, our guest, who's on thin ice?
Well, I was going to take the Buffalo Bills, but because of the injuries that they've suffered on defense.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of them. But they're playing the Giants this week. And even with all those starters missing, they can take the Giants.
Yeah.
The team that's on thin ice right now is your Minnesota Vikings.
Oh,
We just met.
shots fired. Boom,
We
boom.
just met.
This feels really aggressive.
And
Yeah, this is overly. Oh my
very sorry. I don't mean to come into your
Tell
house
it.
and
It's
slap
all
you
good.
around, but as you just stated, they just lost their best player on offense, Justin Jefferson. He's going to be out for at least 4 weeks. They're going to put him on IR. It's not like they were able to win with him this year.
Right.
I don't think they are. I don't think overall they're a very good defensive football team. They're okay, but they're not a team that can lean on their defense to win them football games.
No.
Their running game is pretty much non-existent. I still do not understand for the life of me why they why they handled Dalvin Cook the way they handled Dalvin Cook.
Fact.
I thought that was one of the dumbest offseason moves of any team in the NFL.
That was strange.
What he's averaging 2.5 a carry right now.
He's averaging
Well, he's
2.5
not-
a
he's
carry
not
with
getting the
Zach
ball.
Wilson as
He's
his
showing-
starting quarterback.
He's showing you exactly why. I
and
mean,
he
he's
didn't
not
even
getting the
join that
ball.
team till the week the
But he
season
didn't
Brees Hall is
started.
the starting running back.
at the end
Brees
of
Hall's
the
the
day,
starting running back.
when you're a running back, you should be able to be inserted. It doesn't matter if you're
Not if you're not-
starting.
Hang on,
you
time
never
out,
get into
time
the
out,
flow.
time out, time
third
out, time out.
string. You should average more
Let
than
me ask you a
2.5
question.
carry.
Let me ask you a question. Was Dalvin Cook a very productive running back for Minnesota last year?
Very productive
Yes.
is
So-
a long stretch.
Was he your second best offensive player last year?
No.
Who was besides Justin Jefferson?
TJ Hawkinson. He came in
After the
immediately.
trade.
He came in
Yeah.
immediately and he was getting 10 targets. He's averaging 10 targets a game. See, here's the thing about
Has your running game been existent since he left?
No,
No.
but here's my thing about Dalvin Cook. And I love Dalvin Cook, but the problem is if you want your offense to be on schedule, you can't have 1 yard gain, a negative yard gain, and then bust for 30.
But it wasn't
Every
just that
other
Dalvin,
drive.
it wasn't just that. He was also a very reliable outlet for Kirk Cousins in that offense. Okay, and without that, that's part of the reason their offense suffers because they're missing that because Madison ain't that. Okay?
I think Madison.
a lot of
I think
fumbles,
Madison
man.
is
A lot of fumbles.
A lot
too.
of fumbles.
Besides Madison
team's been
fumbling,
Pretty bad.
he has showed you in a couple of games that he can be that.
But he's
Yeah.
not Dalvin Cook.
He's not Dalvin Cook, but
Right.
I think the closest thing to it is Cam Akers, and with him being there for now 3 weeks,
We'll see.
Pressure's
Cam Akers
on.
got run out of L.A. because he didn't want to do what it took to actually be successful under a very good offensive coach.
I agree.
I think you're going to have you cannot count on Cam Akers to do anything until you see it on the field.
I think Cam Akers is back.
very
He's
true.
back comfortable. He's back with his offensive coordinator.
again, you can't count on it until you see it.
If that team's going to get right, this might be a blessing in disguise. It's crazy to say about the best wide receiver in the league,
Sure.
but it might be a blessing in disguise for this team because Kevin O'Connell is going to say, you know what? If we want to win games, we're going to have to establish
Well,
the run.
When
and
you
let's
have
see
the
it.
goals that you had as that Minnesota team had coming into this season off of last year, to basically just ditch Dalvin Cook was moronic as a franchise. and it hurt. It has hurt them offensively, and it's hurt them as a team.
You were just throwing out grenades.
I'm calling what I see.
He's calling
He's calling it what it is. But what I see is no running back that's making over $9 million right now is doing anything besides Christian McCaffrey.
Okay, that
Not
may be
one.
true. But do you think
where does he
Dalvin
play?
Cook would be averaging 2.5 yards a carry for your team if he was still there?
No.
I don't know.
No,
I
because
think,
he would have been there all off season. He would have been there
No.
through training camp. He's in an offense that he knows. He would have been. I mean, he would be doing what he did last year.
This is just kind of what we saw last year, though. I mean, I think everybody, if you didn't watch all the games, people just saw the highlights. So you turned it on, and you was like, "Oh, look at that 60-yard run."
No, I mean,
but it's the other 10 1-yard gains that puts us, behind the schedule.
Barry Sanders made a career off doing that
Barry
exact same
Sanders,
thing.
He
just
lost
talked
more
about.
yards than anybody, but
Yeah,
still
but
one of the
then he
best.
would break for
He's a
80.
Hall of
I'm
Famer.
saying the other thing that the Dalvin Cook move to just basically throw him on the trash heap, because they didn't get much for him either. Look, the running back position, as far as what it's making and how it's being treated in the NFL, is insanity to me. But it is what it is right now.
Facts.
High
However,
risk, high reward.
what that also did was that put more pressure on Kirk Cousins. And
100%.
Kirk Cousins is not a guy who performs well under pressure.
But Kirk Cousins has been playing well.
He's
Kirk
actually
Cousins
been
is not
playing
fumbling the
really
ball.
good.
He's
Yeah.
not dropping these passes.
too bad.
He's
Kirk
playing
Cousins is
really
playing out
well.
his mind, and hopefully we win this game, because if we don't, he's probably shipped out somewhere.
But
And that
anyway,
scares me.
who knows
But
where?
Newey,
When you add in what's happened with Minnesota this year, combined with, I think, Detroit being for real, the Minnesota Vikings are very much on thin ice.
Okay.
I can agree with that.
Pressure's on.
I don't
baby.
want to, but I can agree.
Don't fall.
Who's on thin ice?
Don't
for you,
fall
boss
now.
man?
Oh, thin ice is Tennessee Titans, man. Oh, we have no identity. This is Derrick Henry's worst year in since I can remember, averaging 3.8 a carry.
Is he beat up?
No, I don't think he's beat
You don't
up,
think
but I
he's
think
beat
he
up?
has the
Too many
emergence of
carries over the
the other
years?
running back that is doing pretty well, especially in the pass game. But Tannehill's only thrown for 2 touchdowns, man.
I think Ryan Tannehill is a mid quarterback.
Oh,
And
we've known
I
that.
still don't
We've known that.
understand.
Tanny Poo is what I
I
call him.
still don't understand why they gave him the contract they gave him. He's a jag as a quarterback.
That was a compliment, though.
He's just a guy.
Mid is a compliment.
I mean, but even and now DeAndre Hopkins is no longer DeAndre Hopkins.
No.
But
But he's always been a possession receiver, so that's what he's doing.
I just
But no
and he
touchdown.
just had his highest total last week, so I don't think it's a lack of that. I just think it's a lack of Ryan Tannehill throwing the ball in tight windows, a lack of a run game, a lack of play action. These guys aren't doing very well. It was on our Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde session,
Yeah.
and I think they laid an egg. Now they're last in the division, even though they only lost one divisional game. Rolling into it, it's going to get bad. But their defense isn't playing that bad. They're averaging 18 points a game. It's not bad.
teams
It
aren't
just
going to
sucks.
let Derrick Henry beat them though.
It's
not
sad.
anymore.
So Tannehill's got
No,
to
you're
throw the
right.
ball, right?
Not
Tannehill.
anymore.
We got to get things going.
Tannehill's not that guy.
I mean, that
That's
was supposed
thin
to
ice
be
for me.
This was supposed to be probably one of the weaker divisions.
Yeah.
and I'm not
it's
seeing that.
everybody's
Actually, I
beating
see
each other
3
up.
teams that are trending the right way, and if they lose any more games, I don't see them being a problem.
I mean, Titans play the Ravens this week, so good luck.
So good luck.
with Lamar losing.
yeah. Tim,
Good luck.
who's on thin ice for you?
Or you know who I'm going to say.
No, let's hear
Dallas
it.
Cowboys are in trouble.
Rudy Poo.
They're in trouble.
How
And I'm
bad
going to
is
say
it?
they're in trouble because
That bad?
3 weeks ago, I mean, they
They
were
were the
not in
85
trouble.
Bears.
They were.
To you?
I mean, they were the 2000 Ravens. They
Oh
were going
my
to the
God.
Super Bowl. They
Hear
were
that?
the best team in the NFC.
Right.
I don't even think they're the best team in the NFC East.
no, they're not. But I
No.
don't think
Here's why they're on thin
they're
ice
not.
to me.
But I don't think
Here's why they're
very many, if any, people were saying they were the best team in the NFC East, even when the season started, because the Eagles went to the Super Bowl.
People drink the Eagle Kool-Aid. They shouldn't have been to the Super Bowl only because Brock Purdy got hurt that the Eagles
I
went to the
agree with
Super
that.
Bowl. But the reason I think that they're on thin ice is because 3 out of the next 4 weeks outside of the bye week, which they'll probably win that week, they've got a tough schedule, man.
Yeah.
Right now, since,
Oh, yeah.
since Diggs has gone down, they're ranked 30th in the pass defense.
Which is crazy.
They have to go up against Justin Herbert, who has thrown for over 700 yards in the last 2 games, 5 touchdowns and 0
Balling.
interceptions. So you
Now
can't
he's
tell me
missing
for
one
a
of his 2
second.
starting wide receivers.
He is, but he's getting his running back back.
That'll help.
Austin Eckler is playing this weekend. I don't care who Justin Herbert misses. Justin Herbert delivers the mail. He's been doing it since he's got in the league. He's going to do it this weekend. If the Cowboys show up anything like they did on Sunday,
Oh, well,
they're
that's
going to lose
that's
that
a
game,
given.
right?
I mean, that's
Here's
a
my
given.
thing. I think the Cowboys, that we've seen their recipe for winning. Defense has to be dominant. They have to either keep our offense in good field position or they have to create turnovers, right? Because we're not good on third down, we're not controlling the time of possession, and we're not good in the red zone. So as an offense, all those three things are very important. We're not good at any of them.
Right.
Now, they were controlling time of possession until this week.
Yeah, they were.
But we're not now.
I mean,
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
What have you done for me
So now
lately?
we've got the Chargers. After the Chargers,
With-
we've got we got the bye week. Then we
with
got
the Kellen Moore coaching a very personal game.
Well,
that too.
Jay Herbert's throwing for 500
Kellen
on
Moore
y'all.
deserved to be. I mean, he didn't belong here. This is not a
Love
good
it.
fit for him.
Yeah.
When you're hired as a head coach, Mike McCarthy,
Yeah.
you need to be able to create your own staff.
I agree with
So Kellen Moore had to go. Plus, I think if I'm Kellen Moore, I'm happy. I got a quarterback that is 6'6", that can sling the ball all over the field, and he has been dominant for 3 years
He's
before I
insane.
got here. This is exciting, right? Here's the other thing: they've got to play the Eagles, okay, and who are rolling.
I think y'all
We
split.
can't stop the run, and what do the Eagles do?
Run.
They run.
So that's 0-2.
Here's what else
Good
we
luck.
can, now, and then we got to play the Rams, right?
Is that a 40
Now
piece?
the Rams is a game that we can win, but which Rams team is going to show up and which Cowboys team is going to show up? I don't know.
don't think it
Matthew
matters.
Stafford has had a history of lighting us up.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
And we're
And
ranked
he's got
30th against the pass, and
Cup-
guess
Cooper
what?
Kupp
Cooper
back?
Kupp is back. So I worry about the next 3 games, and if we lose those 3 games, how do we make the playoffs?
Y'all
man?
not.
And by the way, we're stuck with a quarterback,
Y'all not.
whether we want him or not, because next year his cap hit is $60 million. So we have to restructure, which
do
means we
you
have
do?
to keep him, which means we can't move off of him. No one would trade for him anyway. So for the next 10 years, this is what the Cowboys are.
let me settle you down a little bit and give you a couple of numbers.
Good luck, because my heart's about
Okay.
to beat out right out my chest.
They do play the
Go
Chargers
Bears.
this
Talk to
week. They do play the Chargers this week on Monday Night Football.
Then they're
Chargers
terrible
defense is
on prime
terrible.
time.
Terrible.
The Cowboys.
Terrible.
Chargers defense is terrible.
Terrible.
Oh, okay.
Number one.
So is our offense.
The
We're
Chargers
good at
head
field goals.
the Chargers head coach is an analytics slave. And what I mean by that is he refuses to consider situation
Yeah, logic.
and what's
Yeah,
going
logic,
and what's
say
happening
Oh,
in
the
the
weak
game.
point of
He's
their-
like, oh, the numbers say this, we're going to do it.
He's a
The
prisoner
weakest
to
part
the
of the-
analytics.
46 at our
the
own
weakest
30.
part of the weakest part of the Chargers is
What's
their
his
head
name?
coach.
I think Brandon. I forgot
Staley.
his
Brandon Staley.
The only weak
Brandon
part of
Staley
the
has
Chargers is
cost
their
his
head
team
coach.
games
Yes.
because
Several
he's
times.
because
100%.
he's a slave to analytics.
Yeah.
He's a terrible coach.
Here's the other thing. Since the start of the 2021 season, past 2 years, Cowboys, playoff appearance, 12 wins each of the last 2 seasons. The Cowboys have not lost consecutive games under McCarthy. Since the start of the 2021 season.
I like that.
They are very good the last 2+ seasons now at responding to losses. So
Something to think about.
just something to think about
No,
for this
I got
Monday.
you.
They're very good at
That
responding to
goes
losses.
for us, but what goes
then,
against us?
Then they have the bye week, and that's when they play the Rams. Is
Right.
off the bye week, so they're gonna get to rest.
I think we win that game.
and have preparation to play the Rams. So I think they're going to be okay. Eagles game's going to be tough, no question about it.
Right.
It's the first game of November. It's on the road. So
I say on ice
Divisional-
because
divisional game.
Y'all
our
know each
defense
other.
is suffering.
Different.
Our defense was our driver of
With,
our
Yes,
team.
and this past-
with
and
another
our
major
defense
with
past
another
week-
huge injury to the
and
defense.
this past week, the defense got their ass kicked.
Okay, well, it's not beyond the realm of possibility because it's a copycat league. So much so of a copycat league that the 49ers ran the exact same play Sunday night that the Lions ran Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, but
They
you're
both
saying-
scored
but Kellen
touchdowns
Moore
to
ain't gonna
tight
do
ends
that.
that were from Iowa. If anyone
Kellen
didn't know
Moore
that.
ain't going to do that because
he's-
Kellen Moore's not that
Kellen
creative.
No,
Moore's
but
gonna-
I'm not talking about Kellen. I'm not even talking about Kellen Moore. I'm talking about the rest of the league understanding that San Francisco was able to neutralize our D line, including Micah Parsons. You think the rest
But
of the league isn't going to watch that and go,
The,
"Oh, that's
the rest
how
of
you
the
do
league
it."
doesn't have San
You
Francisco's
run
offensive
right
line.
at Micah Parsons. That's what you do.
Okay.
The rest of the league
And-
doesn't
we'll see.
have
And
San Francisco's
steamroll.
offensive
You know what?
line.
Hey,
I'm worried about the
see.
Cowboys.
We'll see. They're on thin ice.
I understand that you're worried about them. I get it, but I just
We went from
They're on
Super
thin
Bowl
ice
contenders to
Don't y'all
not
do that
even
shit every year,
pretenders.
though?
every year. Come on.
And I said I wasn't going to drink the Kool-Aid,
Come
and
on,
I
but
drank
you know
it.
what?
drank
Hey,
all that shit.
I want to talk. I'm gonna talk about somebody who's on way thinner sheet of ice. The Patriots. What happened there?
They're under the ice.
I
bro.
mean-
12 leaving
Yeah,
is what happened.
They already drowned.
They already fell through a hole and they're
Yeah.
like trying to find their way
That
back
shit
above it.
Can we get rid of this
Hassle.
lie? Bill Belichick is not the best coach in the NFL. Okay.
Never
At this point,
was.
I don't think he's a top 5 coach in the NFL.
Ooh.
Because there's some problems that we're seeing consistently. And when good coaches know how to change shit, you know what I mean? You see a problem, you fix a problem. I'm not seeing any of those problems being fixed.
Right.
You know what I mean? I see weird Band-Aids that get put on this team, and not just that game. From a week-to-week basis and now from a year-to-year basis post-Brady, I see these Band-Aids that aren't healing. They're not fixing anything. And they're on absolute thin ice. I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's the Patriots. We haven't cared about you since 12 left.
Facts.
But it doesn't look good.
No.
I do
pretty
not,
bad.
to this day, I do not understand why they drafted Mac Jones in the first round.
I can't fathom it.
I still cannot.
was never a
when they
first-round
did
quarterback.
when they drafted it, I was confused because look, I'm not saying he's not draftable,
Right.
but
Not
he
in the
was
first
definitely
round.
not a first round level quarterback.
No.
I don't care what he did at Alabama.
Right.
He's not a first round
Bunch of
level
five-star
quarterback. And the
talent
other
around
thing
him.
Bill Belichick has done a terrible job of, and I realize he's not the quote unquote GM, but we know how that how that thing works
Sure.
there. Okay,
A lot of
what
mistakes
he has
there.
done a terrible job of since Brady left
Never should've let
is if
Brady
you're
go.
going to start a young or rookie quarterback,
Surround him with
you
talent.
better surround him with talent, and they have done a
Failed to do it.
horrific job of putting talent at the
Failed
skill
him.
positions on
Failed
that
that young
offense.
man.
The worst wide receiving core in the NFL. Out
For
of
a
all
while,
32
yeah.
teams,
For a while.
that is the worst core
Yeah.
in the NFL right now.
They haven't upgraded anything other than the tight end position. Which
got
they
Hunter
did
Henry.
get better.
Yeah.
They have not upgraded the wide receiver or running back position at all
Right.
since 12 left.
You know what I worry about with them is Mac Jones felt like a panic move. It felt like a panic draft, right? But now, if this season ends how it is right now, you're going to have to panic again.
I say you roll with Zappy and let the chips fall.
But
See what
No, they'll
happens.
draft a quarterback.
But he's
this
not-
year.
You're going to have to drive. You can't do it. You're going to
He's
have to
not
draft
that-
a quarterback.
he's not that
Ain't that
either.
dude? I mean, he showed a little bit of flashes.
But you know what? Let's take it into the tunnel.
Move on.
Let's take it into the tunnel. Let's move on to halftime. Look, if you've been following the Couch Coach, this is a growing community. Like I said, I mean, we've been getting some
Yep.
crazy reception. People have been giving us crazy feedback. They're kind of falling in love with the couch. They're falling in love with the coaches. They're falling in love with our crazy theories and our factuals that we're dropping. And we've been right quite a bit. But if you haven't followed us, please go follow us at thecouchcoachclub.com. And one big piece of the Couch Coach Club, these guys are on fire every single week on their badass podcast. That is the QB Huddle podcast. Tim, give us a little bit about the QB Huddle.
Yeah, so this is a show that Brandon and I created, and I talk about this show a lot. I feel like I love what we're doing.
Yeah.
But Brandon is a huge piece of this, being that he played quarterback for me. I got the chance to be his coach on 3 different teams. We won a championship together, and we talk about football all the time. So how this was born was we talk about football for 45 minutes an
All the
hour, and
time.
we said, hey, let's put this on tape. So Brandon, run with it, man. How did we get from being here talking to each other to talking to the world on YouTube?
Man, it's just putting it out there.
There was
Writing a plan, executing it.
There was a time where we looked around the league. There was like 5 or 6 quarterbacks that we all knew that were probably going to the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
That time has just changed now.
Right.
You know what I mean? The hierarchy of quarterback play, you know how you have Mahomes and then you have 31 other guys besides Matt Stafford who haven't won a Super Bowl and haven't proven anything.
Sure.
So for you guys to take a deep dive into
Yeah.
quarterback is huge.
Yeah, it's each week, and we
huge.
have who's on fire, who's in the what do we call
Garbage
it? The garbage
juice.
juice.
Garbage juice.
Oh
yeah, it's pretty bad, man. It gets
what
real.
matchups to look out for?
Garbage It's real.
That's not
You know
trash
what
can
we
punch,
saw,
is it?
what we saw from
Bad.
the week prior.
Absolutely awful.
And the best part is Brandon gives you his fantasy tips of the week, and he's been killing it. So pay attention.
Rolling. Rolling.
But you got to watch the whole show.
Gotta watch the whole show.
Gotta
Can't
watch
tell
the
you
whole
what
show.
fantasy
I'm
tips
gonna hit
are.
you
A
with
lot of
couple
money's
fantasy
been made
questions
off these
before we-
picks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit you with a couple fantasy questions before we get out of here.
It's just a bunch of quarterbacks, man, just former quarterbacks just talking. You know, we just have a passion for it. And I think, you know, displaying it to the world, allow the people to take a deep dive into some of the stuff that we talk about, even from an analytical standpoint, but also just a film structure. Now we're watching film all the time, covering the NFL. We see a lot of bad quarterback play, and we have to, you know, point it out, but also some good quarterback play from people who don't think, you know, hey, they're just a product of the system. But
Oh God, here we go again.
it's a fun
It is,
show,
man.
man, and I really enjoy it. We're gonna have Mark Clayton, former OU Sooner, first round pick for the Baltimore Ravens, join our show next week.
Nice.
That's
We'll have
exciting.
Quincy Carter on there pretty soon.
Vernon Sharp is going to come on the show. He just signed with Amarillo.
Quincy on our station. He's a good interview.
Yeah, he's a real good guy,
man. We've got the
man.
head coach, Andre Coles, coach from the Frisco Fighters Arena football team, who also was a arena football player, was in camp with a few NFL teams, is going to be on our show. We've got some jam-packed we've got Prime Weights, local cultural icon in the semi-pro and arena football world. Victor Mann, head coach of the Fort Worth Bulls.
Was my former coach. Yeah.
And some of these guys are coming here too, folks. So you're going to get to see him here on the couch.
Robert Kent will be on the show.
Robert Kent,
former Jackson State,
second all-time leading passer in HBCU.
So not just regular people.
We're going to give y'all the real, man.
We are just regular people, man. But look, hey, we drew up a few plays. We had a rah-rah in the locker room. We're hopping out of the locker room after halftime. Let's roll into the third quarter here. I love this segment. This is the pigskin stock market. This is our risers and our fallers. Let me get a team. Who's rising? Who's falling?
If I'm going to pick a team, and again, I'm very sorry to have to do this to you.
Again.
Give me the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
The rising.
As your riser.
As my riser.
Oh, bear down.
2 good weeks.
And here's why.
You didn't say that shit all year.
He's been saying that.
I've been saying it for the last 2 weeks.
Now you got on your Walter Payton think you're running shit.
Here's why. While they only got the one win against Washington the week before, they weren't able to hang on and win. They have clearly figured something out on offense. Figured multiple things out on offense.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that team right now offensively and has taken some pressure off of that defense, but they figured it out not with Justin Fields, but they figured it out in the run game as well.
Yeah.
That offense has now become, over the last 2 weeks, productive.
That's good.
They're coming off of a week that they played a Thursday night, so they had a few extra days to rest. Coming into this game against Minnesota, who is struggling right now, especially with losing Justin Jefferson. Look, I'm not saying they're going to make this big run to the playoffs, but right now, after a first 3 weeks that were just hideous in Chicago, they have figured something out.
Yeah.
And it's starting to work, and Justin Fields is starting to look like the player that everybody, I think, thought he could be. DJ Moore, obviously, that addition has been massive for Chicago on offense, and the way he went off in the last game against Washington. But it's more about I think, scheme and how Fields is playing. They've gotten support from the running game with Herbert. And right now, I look at them as like, oh, wow, this team is starting to look like a team you really have to watch out for each week.
Right.
They're athletic. What impressed me the last 2 weeks is not even on the offensive side of the ball. I thought as far as a roster goes, they had the worst defensive roster in the league to start it. Not a lot of names. I think Yannick was a really good addition, but overall, it was a very lackluster defense. But they play hard.
They do.
They play hard for 4 quarters. They're scrappy. So I can agree with that rise. For sure.
I mean, I think what they've done the last 2 weeks on offense has taken some pressure off of that defense.
Absolutely. Yeah. So who's your faller? What faller team you got?
Well,
and just lay off of us a little bit. Maybe?
I'm not going to rag on the Vikings anymore, just because we've gotten enough of that. But if I'm looking at a falling team right now, and it's because of injuries, I think they're going to win this week. But I think the Bills are in a little bit of trouble because that defense. I mean, look. Injury, the whole next man up mentality, I get it.
Sure.
But you can only replace so much.
So many people. Yeah,
absolutely.
And when you lose 2 key starters like they've lost now on their defense, that's going to be tough for them to replace. And if that defense isn't playing as well as it typically plays, it's going to put more pressure on Josh Allen and that offense. And I'm sorry. Look, I know everybody loves Josh Allen, and he is a very talented football player. But that dude, and I was telling Tim this on the way over here tonight.
He's amazing.
He leads the NFL in turnovers since he entered the NFL.
Since he entered the league. We
know that, but he's still amazing.
You know what?
That doesn't. I know
somebody's open down there somewhere.
But the more pressure, I think the more pressure you put on that offense, I think it's going to cause him to have a bit more of that Superman mentality that he has sometimes, and it's going to cause more turnovers. Because he puts everything on himself, and the coaches aren't taking some of it away from him by trying to do some things to take some pressure off of him.
I like it. Nui, risers and fallers, who you got?
Riser is the Saints, and I tell you why. I feel like they have a very favorable schedule.
I love Dennis Allen. I went to high school with Dennis.
Oh, nice, man. We got
a
colleague
Heather Stroud went to high school with him. Do you know Heather Stroud?
Evan Stroud. That
Heather
Stroud. That name
or
does
Heather
sound familiar.
Spivey, not Heather Stroud.
Heather Spivey.
Oh, Heather
Why
Spivey.
Do you know Heather Spivey?
That name definitely
Heather
rings a bell.
Spivey.
Dennis
Yeah.
graduated.
Sorry, Heather.
Dennis was a year ahead of me in high school.
Heather works with us.
nice.
Heather works with us and talks about Dennis all the time.
I think what they're doing is good now. I think Derek Carr is starting to improve. I mean, despite people saying he's not doing anything, he's completing 65% of his passes, only 2 interceptions.
If he didn't get hurt, they beat Green Bay.
Right, you got Kamara back. I agree, but also you just shut down a Bill Belichick team and made him look worse even after you guys beat him. Right, they have 7 interceptions right now, 11 sacks, and what we're going into week 6. So thank you for all that fantasy points. I appreciate that. But I'll tell you right now, I mean, the way the schedule lines up, they're about to play right now the Texans. C.J. Stroud, a rookie. Right,
CJ's
obviously
on fire.
Hey, he's on fire, but he's about to run into a wall. I think.
Okay.
Right. You also have to focus on the Jaguars. I think they've been kind of a hit or miss. Then you go play the Colts. Then you play the Bears, the Vikings, the Falcons, and potentially the Lions and the Bucks are the only 2 teams I'm a little bit like nervous about.
The Bucks
them
already
falling.
beat them.
They're rising, and the Bucks have already beat them. Right, but they're in the end of it.
I don't like the Saints in most of those matchups you just named.
I mean, I'm not impressed with what the Saints did against the Patriots.
I do.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
How would you not? Because I'm looking at their quarterbacks. I mean, line it up.
The Patriots weren't so bad.
They're only, they're only averaging like 15 points a game. Opponents, right? They're giving up only 15 points a game.
Would everybody here? I mean, I know that's his pick, but would everybody here feel better about the Saints if they hadn't blown that game against Green Bay after Carr got hurt?
Love.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
See, because I think they were dominating that game until Carr got hurt.
I think Green Bay. I think Green Bay lied to us in the beginning of the season,
and then Carr missed
they're
the
not
next
nearly as
week
good
and
as I thought
lost
they were.
with Winston starting at quarterback. I'm just saying, if Carr doesn't get hurt,
I think they roll.
they would be
Maybe.
in a much. They might have 2 more wins right now.
If you look at every one of their games right now, Titans 15-16, Saints and Panthers 20-17, Packers 18-7, the Bucks, they rolled them. That's the worst game they've had.
I mean,
Outside of that, they've been doing very well,
Yeah,
man.
but you just named 3 bad teams.
I mean, that's fine, but you're about to roll into another
The
strip
only
of
good
bad
team
teams.
that they played, they lost to, and that was
That's
Tampa
it.
Bay.
You know what I mean? But
We'll
who's your,
see.
who's
But
your
I like
follower?
the riser.
But it's a
I like it.
riser.
It's your riser.
We'll
It's a
see.
riser.
It's his
I can
riser,
say-
and
The
I
list
can
is
understand
fluid.
that.
The list is
After
fluid.
this.
He's right about Derek Carr, I think. He's right about how well that guy's played.
Yeah, Derek's a
And
good quarterback.
I definitely think they have one more win, the Saints, if he doesn't get hurt. Very possible, maybe even probable they have 2 more wins because, Jameis Winston was awful.
Oh, so you're saying,
Man, you got
you're
Kamara
saying
back
Baker
too,
didn't
man.
make a difference?
That helps.
I'm saying Jameis Winston was terrible.
Okay.
My faller?
That's
Tennessee
fair.
Who's your
Titans,
faller?
man.
Okay.
Tennessee Titans, nothing to talk about. I mean, who are they? Where's their identity?
Simple.
Got to run the ball with Derrick Henry.
Simple.
Fall on your sword. Tanny Poo is not getting it
doesn't-
done.
It doesn't look good.
No.
Tim,
Next.
Fair.
risers and fallers, who you
Boy,
got?
my riser is the Cincinnati Bengals.
You're not
Let's
even
go.
you're
Now
not
listen,
convinced.
I'm going to tell you why.
He's not
I know they've only won the 2 games, but you know why they're
You're
a
not
riser?
convinced.
Because I saw Joe Burrow.
You sure about that?
Very close. I watched him very closely. I saw this man run full speed for 15 yards. I saw this man throwing the rock down the field, which he couldn't do a couple weeks ago.
They did look much
I
better this
saw
past
a
week.
whole different Joe Burrow. Him and Jamar Chase went off the other day. To me, that's all I needed to see. For the Bengals to be good, all I need to see
They
because
did that
Joe
without T.
Burrow is
Higgins.
the driver of that team. Period.
did, man. He's a little banged up
They
too.
did that
huh?
without T. Higgins.
Yeah,
they did.
I'm looking for the Bengals to. I said this before the season. I still think it now. Watching the parity that's going on in the AFC North right now, I think the Bengals are the class of that division if Joe Burrow is healthy.
It's looking
If Joe
very
Burrow is
suspect.
healthy.
in
I mean,
it's hard to
division
argue
right
that
now
point.
For them
It
to
really
steal
is.
that,
It's
yeah,
very
for
much
them to
hard.
steal
Because
that.
you can honestly mark up their first 3 or 4
Yeah.
weeks to his health.
Exactly. He couldn't throw the
Right.
ball 20 yards. We talked about it on
Yeah, he
last
only
week's show.
completed
New
one
pieces
pass
on
for 20
defense. They had to
yards
try to get it together. It was a
crazy.
slow
So
process.
I'm happy
I
to
guess.
see Joe Burrow's
Right.
back. I'm happy to see the Bengals are back. My grandmother, she loves the Bengals helmets. It's like her favorite team outside of the Bears.
is a clean ass.
So
That
for my
all white
grandmother's
look with them
sake-
with the white Bengal helmet is
Oh, that white out was so
absolutely.
My
So fresh.
faller.
so fresh,
your
so
faller?
clean,
Listen,
clean.
you guys know who my faller is, but I'm going to pivot because I've been hard on them today, and that was
Nah,
one
keep
game.
it going.
So I'm going to go to another team.
Throw that
which,
shit out there.
Which my man B-New over there told me a couple weeks ago before they played the Bills that, they're 5-0 because they won all their preseason games, and they've won 2 regular season, and they're awesome. And they've lost 3 games in a row, and that's the Washington Commanders.
Damn, shouldn't listen to me
like
on that,
I said
America.
about an hour ago when we started this show,
better.
really should go back to the XFL, or go
better.
to the XFL, rather.
Yeah.
Because they don't belong in the NFL. Maybe
Oh.
they need to get that Redskin name back. Maybe that'll help. Maybe that'll help because they have been trash since they
Let's
let
try
that
and
name
stay
go.
away from racial slurs.
Listen, the Indian
just
Nation
saying.
called and said, "We want you to be the Redskins again."
No,
did.
they really didn't.
They did.
I
They never
know.
Thanks with Indiana.
Listen.
I don't feel
There
any
were a
type of way
few.
on it.
There were a few out
See?
there that didn't have a problem
I
with it,
don't
but there
feel
were a
bad
whole lot
with
that
it.
did.
And I got a lot of my family.
I don't
in
care.
there. We didn't have a
As a
problem
Cowboys
with it.
fan, I absolutely hate whatever they're called. up
Oh,
in
yeah,
Washington.
historically?
I hate that team
Yeah.
historically. So they can call themselves whatever
You hit
they
everybody
want.
that beat you.
But
They need
to
they're-
do something
they're-
besides
they're all the
Commanders,
way
but
down in the
still.
tubes, bro. They are the
It's not
worst team
good.
in the NFC East, even worse than the Giants.
Well, I want to pivot a little bit.
Trying to run the Chiefs offense with Sam, what's
With
his
Sam
name?
Howell.
Sam Howell. He is not Patrick Mahomes. You better change up what you're
Is he
doing
a poor man's
offensively.
Baker Mayfield?
What?
Is that kind of what he's
No,
kind of
he
built
looks,
that way?
he's like Tim Tebow to
He's
me.
a big, strong kid.
He like
but-
runs people over and shit.
And they're about the same
his
size,
arms
bro,
are like
if you
this
look it
big,
up.
like he can barely get around. You know,
me
my riser this week is gonna be the Colts. You know, you just weren't supposed to be that good. You know,
True.
you drafted,
But here
you drafted early. You weren't supposed to be that good.
lost your quarterback.
You lost
Jim
your
Irsay
first round
decided to
quarterback.
piss off the running back.
You lost your first round quarterback again. But in the same week, you just paid the running back who we didn't think was going to come back.
That was a weird contract.
And the backup running
your
back went
backup
off.
quarterback has won his second game.
Gardner's not bad.
And,
Yeah,
and he's
they-
not bad. I mean, look, Shane.
Very
you're-
serviceable quarterback.
Shane, you're
for
doing
sure.
a great job. I mean, this team is
Dude, people forget,
right in the thick.
They should have let Minshew
Do people
start
forget
and
that
develop
Minshew was
Richardson.
brought to Philly
Yeah, he's getting
with the
hurt a
thought
lot.
that he was going to replace
3 out of 5
Jalen
games.
Hurts?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, that
Because
was
he's
not that long
not
ago.
running so
People
much.
forget that.
Yeah.
He was brought to Philly because Philly no longer believed in Jalen, and they thought he was going to have to take over. Now,
Right.
Jalen had a great year. Gardner never had to do that.
That's
So
true.
it's not surprising that he's
No,
playing well in
it's
Indy.
not. But at the end
Gardner
of the day,
played well in Jacksonville.
Played very
yeah,
well.
it wasn't
He's
bad
still
at
a
all.
backup, and this team has won some pretty good games.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the teams that they've beaten in the fashion that they've beaten these teams suggests that they might be in the mix here in the next couple months.
Right.
So
be.
that's my riser. As far as my fall team goes, look, I wasn't gonna say too much about the Cowboys, but I have to put them as the faller because
Coming off of last week, it's understandable.
but
Bug out.
I think it's more than that. I just think it's if we fast forward to January, they're not gonna beat the 49ers in the playoffs.
No.
You know what I
But
mean?
who is?
And if I think they could go beat Philly, but you're not gonna beat Philly in Philly.
Nope.
You're not going to do it.
No, that's not gonna happen.
And because of that, those are the only two teams that you're probably going to be matched up against because of your situation right now.
Right
you're
now
not going to
they're
be able to
seventh.
go play, the NFC North squad, or you're not going to be able to get to play the Buccaneers. You're going to be matched up against one of those teams because of where you're putting yourself. So I think they're falling.
Right.
It was kind of Dak's face. You know what I mean? I talk about the face all the time.
He had that Eli
the
Manning
face
look,
says,
huh?
it says it, and he didn't look very confident.
Deer in headlights right after the first
They're
drop.
falling. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because we talked about it
we were
enough.
beating
But
them up all day.
if you had a rising and falling player, who were the players?
Well, I'm going to piggyback on who I said my rising team was. My rising team was, and that was the Bears.
Yeah.
So my rising player is Justin Fields.
Like it.
Because of exact same reasons. That kid was
I love that pick.
well, but I mean that kid you saw it. He was uber talented coming out of college.
Yeah.
Now, did he need to get thrown right into the fire? No. I think he was a guy that needed some developmental time, kind of like Anthony Richardson, but maybe I'm not quite as high level. Richardson needs more.
Yeah.
But you still, I think, needed to give him time to kind of get his feet wet and develop, and they didn't do that in Chicago, unfortunately. But like I said, you watch them the last 2 weeks, and it seems like something has clicked. And he is really starting to see the field better. He's always been good about about using his legs at the NFL level, a la a Kyler Murray type, you know, and how and when to use his legs. But he's really started to see something click in the passing game. DJ Moore obviously has helped a ton, but he is my rising player because if this trend continues, I think you're really going to start to see some elite level play.
It might
out of
be a
him.
bright future. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Oh, Chicago, please don't trade him. Please don't give him away and start
I
all
hope
over
he runs
again.
into a brick wall this week. Who's your falling player?
I hate to say it, but until I see something different, and it's not all on him, but my falling player right now is Dak Prescott.
Ooh.
Love that.
Yeah.
And that's just because right
I'm going to
now
hug you on the way home.
that right now, I'm not as down on Dak as a lot of people in this area.
In this room?
In this room. But right now, and I think, like I said, it's not all him. There's other things going on. The offensive line, I don't think, has played consistent football because they've had guys in and out of the lineup. Terrence Steele right now is really, really struggling with pass pro.
He looked like a total.
And it's not just Sunday. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks as well. He's coming off that AC. He's less than a year off of ACL.
It pops off the tape too.
And it pops off in pass pro because that's where an ACL injury for a lineman would pop off, not in run blocking.
Yeah,
it's going to pop off and he is really having trouble getting back off the snap at the right tackle. And there are a number of plays the last few weeks where Dak has gotten rid of the ball quickly because he's had to, and that's why he's throwing a lot more of these shorter routes because guys are just whipping Steele coming around that right side. But bottom
we
line
don't have
is,
Zeke to pass block anymore, which, by the way, he was very good at that.
But Tony's been good at it. That's not really the issue.
He's not as good, though.
He's not as good, but I mean, that's not. Zeke was one of the best in the NFL at doing it.
Period.
I miss
But
Zeke.
But the bottom line is because of the way this offense is going, I do think McCarthy right now he's struggling a little bit with his play calls and what he's doing. I think, as Tim and I talked about on our way here, I think McCarthy has some old ideas on offense that he either needs to update or he needs to let Brian Schottenheimer start calling the plays in this offense.
He's another old school guy, though.
But my man said he went before he got
Schottenheimer is the reason he brought in Schottenheimer is because of Schottenheimer's familiarity with the offense.
Sure.
Before he came to Dallas, he went and stayed in a cottage somewhere out in the wilderness in the snow.
He took
and
a
all
year
that
off.
shit. And he said he studied tape and was looking at how, has the game passed me by? Am I going to come up with some new ideas? And he said he evolved himself
He's
in
bought
that year.
into more of,
and I don't see it.
I don't see evolution.
I don't see it as a play
no
caller,
motion,
but we've
there's
only
no
seen
movement,
it for,
there's no shifting.
We've only seen it for a few games now.
Our
And
offense
I think
is boring.
And I think a lot of things with Dallas is offensively is how weird their games have been. I mean, think about it. Blowouts in week 1 and week 2 where the team you're playing – You're completely dominating that other team. And so in the second half, I think the way the games have gone for Dallas has almost been a bit of a detriment to Dak and this offense, which even though it's not a completely different offense, there are some changes and it is a different play caller. So there is an adjustment period that takes place. And I don't think they've been able to fully run the offense in games the way you would typically would have by this point, because in the second half of 3 of their 5 games
They've been playing from
they haven't had to do much offensively, so they've been a lot more conservative in their play calling.
Sure.
And so, like I said, I think there's a lot of reasons for it.
Right.
But the bottom line is Dak is not playing very well right now.
No, he's not.
And so, I mean, you have to have him as kind of a falling player until they can figure out a way to get things back up.
Sure.
I will give a guy a break. You know what I mean? Who you got? Riser or faller?
Well, I wasn't gonna do this, but I need to.
Go ahead.
The riser's Brock Purdy, the number 1 quarterback in the NFL statistically right now. If you look at it,
He deserves that.
I'm tired of everybody saying he's a system quarterback. I'm tired of everybody. How?
He's not.
He's got the answers to the test.
He
makes
but he's
adjustments.
excelling in the system.
Watch film with me, please.
We could talk about that all day.
Like, he is
Both of us are
legit,
gonna
dog. This
disagree
is
with you
what
on
I
that,
do.
for sure.
I love it. I got a passion
I know
for
how
it.
you feel.
I'm always
I'm so
trying to
excited.
find a way. I'm trying to find a way to figure out what is wrong with him.
I don't think anything's wrong with him.
We're not going to go for an hour longer on
Yeah, well,
that.
I can go all day on this.
You
Who's
can't
my
argue.
follower?
Look, you can't argue with him as him being a rising player.
Yeah,
Can't argue
not
with
at all.
this.
My
Not at all.
follower is Mac Jones.
Oh,
What the
God.
hell are you doing?
I mean, I thought
54%.
he
He's
was
on
already
pace to
on the
throw.
ground.
Bro,
He done fell.
I thought he was laying down.
Nah, yeah, he's wounded, but I'm gonna try to pick him back up and tell him about himself, brother. You
He's
need
in
to
the
figure
ravine.
it out. You need to
said
figure it
faller.
out. You're on pace to throw for 26 interceptions, 27 interceptions. Has that ever happened in a Patriots?
Well, no, it
Organization?
hasn't. I mean,
bad.
not with Tom Brady, a quarterback. It never
Nah,
happened.
TB12. He was the system. Let's stop
It's
talking
bad.
about
He
Bill.
won't have a job in-
TB12 was the system.
He won't have a job in a few weeks. No big deal. Tim,
Yeah.
riser and faller.
So my riser, for the first time, I am going to go away from quarterback and go with David Montgomery
Okay,
of the
yeah.
Detroit
he's been
Lions.
balling.
Boy, they dodged a bullet in Detroit. They
Listen.
thought he was hurt. but
Versus
he
the
wasn't.
Packers, he had 32
They dodged a
carries,
bullet.
121
He's
yards.
been playing.
3 touchdowns against
Gibbs
Carolina the
he's
week
learning.
before.
That's good.
19 carries, 109 yards. So he's 100 yards 2 weeks in a row, which we're not
Yeah.
seeing running backs go for 100 yards.
Good.
So I'm going to go with David Montgomery. I love him. I wish the Bears wouldn't have got rid of him.
Tell you what,
another terrible move.
If that Chicago passing offense with Fields had been playing like it had the last 2 weeks, they never would have got rid of Montgomery. Montgomery would have been tearing it
They
up.
need Montgomery.
But
to control.
Herbert's been playing well.
Now I'm going to go with
but now he's hurt, though.
He did get hurt. Yeah, we're going to have to
He
see.
leaked out on a wheel route, and Justin Fields underthrew it instead of throwing it up to the field. That
Have
was
to
just
see
a
what his
simple
health is.
flat to leak route.
I'm
But you know
going a
what?
different
They
way
got
with
my
my
two
faller,
Texans,
though.
even though he's in concussion protocol this week. They got my two Texas guys behind him. They're going to be
see.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
They got Roshan Johnson and Dante Foreman.
And
Man, he's over there. Nice.
I love Foreman, but
Yeah, Foreman's a dog.
For some reason, he's been a healthy scratch a lot.
Yeah.
It's because Roshan Johnson is a badass, and they got a steal in the fourth round.
We still don't know who he is.
Man, he's on you. He's on you this episode, man.
No one knows who he is yet.
You better.
But who's
You
your
got to blow him out.
My faller is not a player.
Okay.
My faller, you talked about him earlier. The coach, Coach Bill Belichick.
I like
Sir, you have fallen all the way off.
all the way.
My
up.
man
The
jumped off
Patriots have
Titanic
one
on
win
that.
against the Jets when Zach Wilson was still trying to figure out who Zach Wilson was at the beginning of the season because he wasn't supposed to be playing, right?
Right.
Suffered his worst loss of his career 2 weeks ago, and then suffered his second worst loss of his career last week. I'm gonna take my glasses off.
Oh, he's
I'm gonna
serious
look
now.
into the
Oh, he got
camera.
real serious, didn't he?
Bill Belichick, let it go, bro. Take your ass to the beach. Retire. You know what? It was always the Brady system, and now we know.
Ouch.
Sobelwit.
Ouch.
Mic drop.
all I got to say.
But it was. Look what he did.
But
in
it was.
Tampa.
Ouch.
He has
did
it.
the same
Listen,
shit as Tampa.
I like Bill Belichick as a defensive coordinator.
I
Sure.
think we can honestly say it was the combination of the
He's
two.
never
I
listen.
think they
The
compliment
man
yin and
never.
yang
The
now,
man
right?
never won pre Tom Brady. He's never won post Tom Brady. You didn't even get the same team that Tom Brady had to the playoffs, and you signed Cam Newton. You had Billy Zappi. You got Mac Jones. I don't even know who was there. Who else was there when Cam left, or when Tom left? But you've had a myriad of different quarterbacks in there. You can't even get to the playoffs without Tom Brady.
I
And you
also
are
feel like-
not the best coach of all time. You might be a great manager. You might be a great defensive coordinator, but you are not Bill Walsh. You are not Don Shula. You are not Andy Reid. You're not. And you know why? Because those guys did it with different players, different quarterbacks, different eras,
This hurt.
different
This is-
teams in some cases like Andy Reid.
I
reality-
can't fully go with him on this part.
I don't want to.
but
I do
I do agree
agree
that
go all the way.
I do agree that Bill
It just-
Belichick is time to go.
It hurts.
The game has passed you by.
Bye bye, Zoom.
Okay, so let me go.
Or has Tom passed him by?
My rising player was a team that I've been down on. I'm not the biggest fan of Trevor Lawrence, but I will say Travis Etienne is
Balling.
putting
tearing it up.
He's putting the
Appreciate
league
you on
on
my
watch.
fantasy team.
You know what I mean?
Tearing it
And
up.
I don't know if you remember him from college. I definitely know you do.
100%.
But this man was easily the best running back. Or at least top three
he was a
for
beast.
multiple years.
He was all
he was an absolute beast. He was part of the reason why Trevor Lawrence got put on this pedestal because he
Yes.
was throwing screens and he would go for 50 yards.
Yes.
And
Yep.
now, I don't know if you remember, but like last year, he wasn't all the way healthy.
No.
So, and now you're seeing a
Right.
healthy ETN. They brought in Tank, and Tank was supposed to be a 50-50 split. You know
Right.
how they were talking at the beginning of the season, and now Tank's not even seeing the field.
Nope.
And the Jags have won 2 games that I don't think they should have necessarily won.
Sure.
And I think it's been on the back of ETN. So he's my rising player right now. I really love to see
Sure.
it.
Fair.
A guy that I was kind of thinking that he was on the rise, but the situation just doesn't really look that good right now in Green Bay. Jordan Love, you know,
I told you about him week 2.
you know,
He doesn't have a lot of help.
Tune in.
I don't want to say I really
You
like
can't
I like
complete
the
50%
players.
of your passes,
I like the
brother.
players on the offense.
That's not
they're not
conducive anymore.
bad. They have pieces.
Yeah.
But like he said,
I don't
it's
like their receivers outside of
But he's
Chris
making throws that Aaron Rodgers would never make. I mean, right
he's doing a lot of
two
sporadic
defenders.
stuff. Even
For
the
sure.
fade. You got to let that ball
And a
go.
lot of this is he's going to have to grow.
it's situational awareness.
They're going to let him grow, though.
You're right. You're right.
Years, though, right?
So you almost got to
They're not
treat him
gonna
like a
let him
rookie,
grow.
but it's situational
But
awareness.
see, he's not treating him like a rookie, but he is.
What I have to
technically.
stop seeing from Jordan Love is, you know what? First read, second read. You can't go back over to the first read again.
Right. Let's go.
That's not good quarterback play.
Right.
Because
No.
somebody's coming.
He should know
Right.
better with who his mentor is.
Somebody's coming, and that's what's happened every single week.
I feel
He
like
ends up
they're gonna
throwing
blitz
a
the hell
bad
out of him.
pass, or he throws an interception.
Right.
And last night,
Right.
Monday night, he lost the game. You know what I mean? I have to put that on him. He lost the game. But there were some throws that he could have made at the end of the game, or he could have won that game. And instead,
his receiver could have maybe jumped for the ball.
Each one of these games, this guy is thrown for like 50% completion. I was just like, I don't see it right now.
Hasn't. And we thought it was good because of the touchdowns.
Right. But no, that's not that doesn't tell the story.
Exactly.
It's all about efficiency, sustaining drives.
Like I said, I outside of Christian Watson, I don't like their receiving core at all. Mm-hmm. He also hasn't had Aaron Jones, which in that offense and what they do, he is a huge factor and he's necessary. Yeah. And they're also, again, their offensive line is just a mash unit. For whatever reason, they cannot keep a consistent, healthy O-line in Green Bay. Now, that doesn't excuse some of the throws he's making.
No, it doesn't.
But he's not getting a lot of help either.
Doesn't it bother you that with Aaron Rodgers out, I mean, it bothers me as a Bear fan that with Aaron Rodgers out of the division, the Packers absolutely suck now, it appears, and neither one of our teams can get past the Detroit Lions now?
Well, that bothers me. I think that's the biggest problem. Like,
bothers me.
We got a riser in Justin. We got a riser in Justin Fields. The Lions are on absolute fire, and the Vikings are not as bad as the 1-4 suggest. You know,
but they are 1-4.
It just doesn't look good for Jordan Love right now.
No, it doesn't, and he needs. I don't necessarily agree that they need to treat that he's being treated, or they should treat him like a rookie. Mm-hmm. But they definitely need to treat him as a second-year player that's in his first year starting.
Right. Here's why they can't treat him like a rookie. Because they need to make a decision at the end of the season if they're going to pay this dude.
Yeah, and I think,
but they already paid him. You
don't have a long window here.
And they can wait and see how the rest of the season plays out. And see if he grows as the season goes.
I'm afraid of them being a middle of the road team.
Mm-hmm. And that's not in Packer land. They don't like that.
Maybe in the 20s or the late teens, and then you got to go figure out what fourth or fifth quarterback.
What they need to do that they haven't had to do when Aaron Rodgers was there. What they need to do is start upgrading, kind of like in New England. They need to get better at upgrading that skill position talent. Yeah. Because when Aaron Rodgers was there, they felt like, well, Aaron's just going to make everybody around him better. Mm-hmm. So they didn't spend high draft picks on skill position.
Green Bay's been blessed.
They didn't spend a lot of money on skill position. They need to start doing that.
Green Bay has been blessed with three Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yeah, and
it's time for them to be terrible.
You've had these wide receivers that have come into the league, and they've wowed us a little bit. So we have this new expectation that wide receivers are supposed to come in and be good. Yeah. You know what I mean? The whole wide receiving core is made of 2-year players and 2 rookies. So
maybe it needs time to develop
they just need time. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, let's go to the end of this. This is going to be quick, fast, and a hurry. Because look, and the reason why you don't know this, but I am losing this quite a bit. This segment is called "The Smartest Idiot," and I'm losing it pretty much every week.
Newey's in first place.
So I don't want to do a whole lot of talking about what you think. Just tell me who you think's gonna win these games here in week 5. We're gonna pop it off with that Thursday matchup. We got the Broncos versus Chiefs. This one might be easy. Who you got?
Broncos, Chiefs. That's easy. Give me Chiefs.
Chiefs.
That's not hard.
Chiefs. Yeah, I'm gonna get my wins up this week. It's definitely gonna be the Chiefs. It's not gonna be.
He was about to say Denver.
We got another 9:30 a.m. game. We got
London yet again.
8:30. I'm sorry for the Ravens and Titans. Which this could definitely be ugly. But who you got?
Could be. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. But go ahead and give me the Ravens, especially after what happened this past Sunday in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I got Baltimore seeking revenge, man. After that loss,
and Baltimore did the smart thing. Did you hear about that this week? Because of what happened in their last London experience a few years ago, they flew out on Monday.
To
head and they're spending the whole week in London.
Okay, well you just
you would think, but nearly every team flies out on Thursday.
Yeah, and that's rough.
But that's
a lot of jet lag.
The Ravens hadn't been there in 6 years, but they played like garbage when they went there in 2017, and they flew out on Thursday. So Harbaugh said, "We're going out on Monday."
Yeah,
so we'll see how that affects.
I like that. That made me flip mine because I actually thought the Titans were going to get their shit together, but Ravens on that
one.
Not
at all.
Back on the noon games, Commanders versus Falcons in ATL.
You know what? Give me the Falcons. I don't think Desmond Ridder is the guy, but Bijan Robinson's playing well. Mm-hmm. There was a Kyle Pitts sighting this past week.
Well, yeah, he plays football.
Yeah, about time he started finding Kyle Pitts. but I just don't think the Commanders are all that good. And I think the Falcons, they've had ups and downs, but they've been competitive in every game they played. Give me the Falcons.
Feisty. Here you go.
I got the Falcons.
Yeah. Is it because you're wearing the jersey, or is it real?
Prime time, baby. Nah, I got the Falcons.
Oh, I got the Falcons. For sure.
I got the Falcons. Prime time.
Well, I mean, hey, I told you I'm gonna get my wins up. I'm going against the grain. I think I do like the Commanders this week. It feels stupid.
I see why he loses all the time.
I mean,
it feels stupid, but
he just keeps throwing the ball.
But all of these
break, I can
these close games that the Falcons are playing,
bro. Your
listening,
percentage in passes over 20 yards is terrible.
Remember the Commanders are Jekyll and Hyde. You know what I mean? We've seen them up and down, and this is the off week where they should be good. So I'll roll with the Commanders.
We'll see.
Let's go, Sam Howell. Seahawks versus Bengals. This is actually going to be a really good matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks coming off a bye, playing pretty solid football. I understand what the Bengals did this past week, but go ahead and give me Seattle with that extra rest, having the extra week to get ready.
Yeah, it means something.
They could be close, but give me Seattle.
I got Seattle about to maul Burrow. They're coming off that 11-sack game, brother.
Okay,
they're 3-1 in Cincinnati. Don't matter. He can't move like that no more. It's still tender now. It's still tender, and those dogs are coming, man. I got Seattle.
I'm riding with the Bengals. I think they're back. Hooday, baby.
Them boys ain't back.
Bengals are going to have. I think the game's going to be closer than what I would like it to be, because I don't want to admit that Seattle's any good.
Nah.
But they are doing pretty decent.
No, sir.
But I think the Bengals are back.
Okay,
and they're going to win this one.
I'm gonna roll with the Seahawks. If without T. Higgins, the offense is not the same. Jamar Chase is a little bit of a one-trick pony. It's hard for people to understand. For me to say that I don't necessarily think he's as elite as people think he is. He is an elite player, so I won't go that far. But there's an elite player on the other side of that football. He's a rookie, and Devin Witherspoon is amazing. And I think he's going to show that, and that's going to hurt the Bengals. I got the Seahawks in this one. Yes, we got another division game. This is going to be another interesting one, Colts versus Jags. I
mean, it's in Jacksonville. The Colts, for whatever reason, always have a problem. Now, they've already played each other once, which is weird. This is the rematch. But go ahead and give me the Jaguars this week. Minshew playing will actually have an effect, I think. But I'm in Jacksonville. Go ahead. I think Jacksonville's just the better football team.
Yeah.
I got the Jags. I think Minshew's going to ball going back to his
for whatever
place
reason,
of
the Colts
drafting him. But
either.
I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I think the Jags roll with this, especially coming off that Bills win, man. I think they roll. Here you go with this stuff. This why you sorry, dude. This why you be losing.
I'm about to change my pick. I'm about to change. You know what?
Look.
I am. I'm changing my pick. You know why? Because the backup running back went off last week. Now you got Jonathan.
He's third in the league in rushing.
Now you got Jonathan Taylor that's going to enter the game. Gardner Minshew's playing at a high level, and the Jacksonville Jaguars have been Jekyll and Hyde a little bit this year. They're coming off a long trip back. They probably feel good about it. They've been in London for 2 weeks, bro.
Tell me, NFL, how much
I'm
you care about player safety. I'm going to say the Colts are going to pull
this game out. I got the Colts.
And I agree with you. The Jags have kind of been up and down, but if you run the ball against the Colts, you win the game. And for some reason, every time that the teams that have lost have abandoned the run. And the way Travis Etienne is playing right now, I don't see them abandoning the run. So I got the Jags in this one. This is probably going to be an easy, nasty blowout, but Panthers versus Dolphins.
Oh, my God.
Should we skip it?
I know.
Might be a 70
I know Devin Achane is hurt. They just put him on IR, but it doesn't matter. It's not like Raheem Mostert wasn't playing well. It's just Achane just exploded onto the scene.
You just lost another speedy guy.
I almost had him in my riser, but I forgot he was hurt.
He's gonna be on IR, but I don't care. Dolphins are gonna roll.
This is our unanimous pick of the week.
This is
Dolphins. Yeah, Dolphins. Next. Vikings versus Bears. In Soldier.
What have I been saying this whole show?
Well, go ahead and break my heart then. Let's hear it.
Yeah, but I think the Bears are going to knock them off this week. No Justin Jefferson. The way they played offensively, the way the Bears have played offensively the last 2 weeks, I think Chicago wins it.
No,
in Chicago.
The Bears.
I've blown the Vikings horn 3 weeks in a row. And they continue to let me down.
Hey,
I can't help it. Justin Fields has been amazing 2 weeks in a row. I'm going to go with the Bears. The Bears.
I need a little luck on my side.
The Bears, homie.
It's all about the Vikings. But the Bears win on Sunday. Shit.
Oh. What? What just happened?
Man.
The Bears win on Sunday.
Oh, that had to hurt.
You know what he did? He just took his medicine
I
That
did.
had to hurt.
And guess what?
because he knew he had to.
And guess what? If you guys fool me, perfect.
Or are you
I don't care.
or are you reverse cursing?
He's reverse
trying to
cursing.
reverse
Yes.
curse.
He's like, what do I pick to lose?
49ers versus Browns. Who you got? This is a...
Look, the 49ers are going to win this game, but I think Cleveland's going to give them problems because Cleveland's defense is legit.
Is Deshaun Watson playing?
Who cares? He
think it
sucks.
I mean, he just started to look like himself again.
I don't really give a damn about that nasty man.
Oh,
He is a creeper.
Deshaun Creepy Watson, folks.
He is the nasty man. I'm pissed off at Cleveland.
Okay.
I hope that team loses every game they play because I can't stand that dude.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
so the Homer...
But no.
Whoa.
We got a Homer pick on the way here.
Man, this is a trap game. We better show up.
Trap game,
We better
are they
take
gonna
it-
win?
Hell yeah, we gonna win.
Okay.
But we better not take it light now.
It's going to be
Show
a fight.
up.
It's in the dog
Yeah,
pound.
it's gonna be- it's
and that
gonna be a
defense
fight.
is really good.
You know what?
And if Brock Purdy carves them up, what you gonna say now?
We said the Dallas Cowboys
won't.
defense was really good.
He won't carve them
And it
up.
wasn't good.
So take them under
So I'm going to say
253
this week,
yards.
Cleveland's defense probably
Yeah,
not going to
because
look
he's not-
good.
he doesn't
I got
hold that
San
typically
Francisco
anyway.
running over Cleveland.
Past like 3 games.
He's I
2250 guy.
I'll put it this way. I think this is going to be another big McCaffrey game.
Yeah, yeah. Look,
Run that pill,
this
you
is-
and Mason.
Y'all are entirely too generous.
But they're gonna win.
This game is not even gonna be close. This is wild.
What's
They're
the
gonna blow
spread?
them out.
What's the spread?
I don't know.
I say they win by 3
I
touchdowns.
said the
This is not gonna be
49ers were
close.
going to roll the Browns.
He did say they were going to roll.
This is just an interesting matchup by two interesting
Maybe he didn't
teams.
hear you.
Saints versus the Texans. Who you got in Houston?
Derek Carr's back. That defense is playing really good football for the Saints. I think, look, Stroud's been playing really well,
Yes.
and I give him credit for what he's been doing. But I'll take the Saints this week.
Yeah.
Welcome to the NFL, CJ
Yeah.
Stroud. 11 takeaways in 5 games. Welcome. Saints run it.
Okay. CJ Stroud has yet to turn the ball over.
All right. He ain't
will
facing
this week.
defense like this.
We could talk about what the,
They got 11
what the
innings.
Saints did last week up in New England, but I think that we have all come to the consensus that the Patriots are done. Like the current Patriots are done. So that doesn't really impress me what the Saints did to them.
Tannehill threw 3 picks in the first game against them.
So I'm gonna say that
got
the
7.
Texans,
Saints defense has been playing well
the
all season.
Texans are
All
the
season.
Texans
Hell
are gonna win this
This is
game.
why they has been losing. Look, I'm telling you.
I mean, honestly, I don't.
I believe in CJ Stroud.
I believe in CJ
I've been
Stroud
watching
too.
him.
I do too.
I don't like this game for him.
Yeah.
The Saints defense is really feisty right now, and
Playing
I
well all
just
season.
if you
I'm going
can't,
against the
if you
grain.
want to beat
Look
the
at
Saints,
look
you
at the
better be able to run the
scores.
ball, and
I
the
know.
Texans can't really do that.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to control it. They're going to win it. Lions versus Buccaneers. What a matchup!
Oh, that might be the game of the week right there.
It might be. Man,
That's a tough one.
That is tough.
look, I was not a believer in Baker Mayfield, but
Same.
he is playing solid football in that system.
Yes, he
down there.
is.
He is really playing solid football. They're also coming off of a bye week. Detroit, however, is on a roll. Man,
It's tough, ain't it?
that is a tough call
God, it's tough.
in Tampa Bay because that team is better than people thought in Tampa. So that crowd down there at the pirate ship will be fired up,
They get rowdy too.
and they get
I've
rowdy.
been there. It's fun.
It's going to be close, but give me Tampa. I think it's a 1-score game, but give me Tampa.
This is tough, man. This is
Detroit's good. but they're
freaking
not as
coin
good as
flip,
their
man.
record.
But what they've done, especially at Arrowhead, has me convinced.
They
That's
would've
one of the
lost
hard-
Travis-
without the best two
They would have
players.
lost. They would have lost if Travis Kelce played.
Without the and Chris Jones,
Yeah,
without
I
their best two players, that was
I get it, but
and that
they
was week
still,
one.
but still.
They,
So you got the Lions?
I don't.
Oh,
but
you
I'm
got-
gonna talk to you about it. See what they doing all this crap? Right. I think Baker Mayfield picks up where he left off, especially after the Saints victory. I think what he did, he's very efficient right now. He's playing some really good ball. I think that defense of the Bucs, I think they're going to force some turnovers on Goff. I think they're going to get to Goff. Shaq Barrett is one of the low-key best defensive players that we don't really talk about.
If you pressure
And
Goff, he will give you the ball.
and a healthy Barrett is a monster. I got the Bucs at home.
I like the Lions a lot. I love their head coach. I love everything that they're doing with the run game with David Montgomery. I like the way Jared Goff is playing, but I like Baker more. So fire the cannons. I got Tampa Bay.
This is good on good. You know what I mean? That offensive line, the way the Lions run the ball, the way Tampa Bay stops the run,
gonna be
that
hard.
defensive line, it's going to be nasty. And like you said, if you pressure Goff, he's going to cough it up.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought this would be a game we were
Detroit
looking forward
Lions
to?
are getting served humble pie this week.
Yes, sir.
Shout outs to
The
Tampa Bay
honeymoon is
Buccaneers.
over.
It's over. I think they got them.
Uh-oh.
Let's keep it rolling. I don't even know if I really want to discuss this because it's an ugly game. Patriots versus the Raiders. Josh McDaniels. He gets to look at his old coach again. What do we see here?
I mean, that's
pick up my phone.
I mean, that is a game that I
opening
have
crap.
zero interest in watching 1 minute
Zero.
of. But the Raiders should win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Raiders.
I hope it doesn't even
Raiders,
come on red
just
zone.
win, baby.
Yeah,
I got the
I
Raiders.
don't even want to see
I don't
red
wanna
zone.
see it on
Jimmy
red
G
zone.
faces his nemesis.
I got
Some
Still
games
throws
you
three
just don't
picks.
Yeah,
watch.
I don't even want them to show that game on red
Yeah,
zone.
based off of what I saw, this is
That's
you're gonna
gonna be
get a
so
heavy dose of Josh Jacobs. And
Yeah.
win the
They
game.
better run
Yeah,
the
they
pill,
do.
man.
They do have a legit
They
running
gonna run the
attack.
pill.
This is another interesting game, division matchup. This is always actually a pretty good game. Cardinals versus the Rams. I love everybody's reaction.
Well,
Well, I know where I'm going.
Because they fight, man.
right. The Cardinals
They fight.
have been competitive in every game they've played. San Francisco pulled away from them late. Bengals pulled away from them in the second half. But that team fights.
They
do.
fight, man.
And I do think the Rams played solid football last week against Philadelphia, but they still only scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Man, this is a tough one. I think no, you know what? Check that. I was about to give it to Arizona, but they just put their running back on IR.
Yep. He's gone.
And that's
said
gonna,
it.
and that's going to be the
You said
difference.
it.
Yep.
That's the difference in the
Go
whole
ahead and
game
give me,
to
and it's in LA. Give me the Rams
Yeah.
because without what's his name,
James Conner.
James Conner's been a big part of
Yeah.
their offense.
It's going to put a lot
I
on
think
Josh
they're gonna-
Dobbs.
Yeah, they're going to struggle a little bit this
Yep.
week. I think to move the ball.
Your division
Rams
foes,
steamroll.
Yeah, I think we're having way too much discussion over this game.
Yeah,
I think with James Conner, I think it would have been a football
The
game.
Rams are better than I thought they were going to be coming into the season. It's good to see Matthew Stafford back to Matthew
Yeah.
Stafford.
And Cooper
is
Cup
back.
looks like Cooper Cup again.
So I mean, the
For a while.
Rams are going to make it tough for some other teams to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, there's just not enough DBs to cover Puka and Cooper
Nakua?
Cup.
Oh, Puka Nakua.
Puka.
I don't-
Nakua.
Yeah, I got the Rams on that one. This is our other. God, just why is it even? Why do they make these matchups? You know what I mean? Why can't they change it right now?
Who's that?
I don't want to see the Giants play the Bills.
Bills next.
I do.
Yeah, Bills. I don't care. I don't care if they are missing 2 defensive stars. Bills are going to whoop
Goodness
that
gracious.
ass.
I'm putting my Josh Allen jersey on. I'm eating wings. I'm having the best day
Hey,
ever.
if you want to place a bet
My
this
man got
Sunday,
every jersey.
I don't care
Bills are
what the
gonna
line
kill that
is.
football
Oh,
team.
yeah.
I don't care what the line is. The Bills
In
coming
Buffalo,
off of that
40
yeah.
piece.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
Next,
Can't wait.
This is our the final game for Monday, the interesting one.
We missed one. I'm just
Yeah, we missed Philly and New York, bro.
Did we miss Philly in
We
New
missed
York?
Philly in New York.
We sure
Philly.
did miss Philly in New York. Philly in New York.
Philly.
Philly playing the Jets. They're going to destroy. The Jets.
I wouldn't say destroy because they haven't destroyed anyone.
Okay.
Let's back up.
And you know what? The Jets defense is good.
The Jets offense
So
is playing better.
You're right.
Zach Wilson is.
They might give them a
They're
fight.
not gonna win.
But they're not
They're
going to
gonna
win.
Zach
They're not gonna
Wilson's
win.
about to run
They-
into Jalen.
That's
but
probably
they're not
why I
gonna-
skipped it.
Yeah,
They're just
they're
too
not
high.
They're not going to run
Zach.
away with the game. That's my point.
We're gonna say so.
But y'all see the table. Y'all see the
Yeah.
Parsons versus Herbert show.
Why is this even out here?
Who's gonna win this game?
The number's great.
I am going to until I see something different, because I do not think the Chargers
Uh-oh.
are. I do not think the Chargers are a good football team.
Oh my goodness.
They have a good offense and a good quarterback.
And that's
Their
about
defense
it.
is trash,
Their coach is trash.
and
Coach is
their
trash.
head coach is trash.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, the Cowboys, since the start of the 2021 season, have not lost consecutive games under
like
Mike
it.
McCarthy.
I
like
thought
it.
you were going a different way.
They have been very good about responding to losses and bouncing back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be any kind of a runaway. I think the Dallas defense specifically bounces back this week in a big way, and I think Dallas beats. And by the way, it's in L.A., which it doesn't matter because there's no Chargers fans in L.A., which means it's going to be a Dallas. It's basically going to be a pseudo Dallas home crowd.
Right.
I think the Cowboys win on Monday Night Football.
I think the Cowboys win. Justin Herbert's gonna throw for 500 though, but the Cowboys gonna win. Dak, come on, man, show us what you made of.
If he throws for 500, the Cowboys won't win.
How are you gonna respond?
Justin Herbert has thrown for over 700 yards in the last 2 weeks, 5 touchdowns, no picks. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys is ranked 30th in pass defense.
You keep bringing that up like the
weeks.
Cowboys defense, and most of that is based off of what happened this last week.
No, it's not. It's based off what's happened over a 3-week period since we lost our number one corner.
And what was the horrid game they played? It was Sunday night.
I'll let you make your point. Now I'm going to make my point.
You didn't carve them up. They ran the ball.
My point is that you talked about Staley. Well, apparently Mike McCarthy is trash as well. At least the offense looks that way because he's calling it, and it's boring. It's almost as boring as the Eagles' offense. Also,
I don't care. They're playing the trash defense
as good as their quarterback. Also, we don't play well on primetime games. We just don't. So I can't help by the numbers.
Did you miss week 1?
Okay, we always beat the fucking Giants.
I'm just saying, was it prime time or was it not prime time?
Okay, we always play poo-poo on prime time.
Was it prime time or was it not prime time?
Okay, my point is, as much as I hate that this is going to happen, I think that the Chargers, because I think there's a big letdown from this game because this was personal for the Cowboys. This was revenge. I'm angry, said Dak Prescott, and now you're sad.
You didn't win
sad Dak. Does sad Dak play better than angry Dak? I don't know. No. I think that we could get mollywopped in this game because Justin Herbert is going to throw for 500 yards.
Yeah, he's going to throw for 5.
I'm going to have to agree. This is what typically happens. Most teams, when you play against a old offensive coordinator, it doesn't end up being pretty good. And I think Kellen Moore is going to dominate this game where he's going to call one of his best games he's ever called against this Cowboy defense, who he's very, very familiar with.
And remember, Dan Quinn and their defense is very familiar with him too.
Straight up.
But
not with Justin Herbert.
Can't stop Justin Herbert.
So. Justin's a machine.
And hey, you've been saying
Does he have a clutch gene, though? If it's close, I got the Cowboys.
You've been saying it all night, so I want to keep it going. Guess who's coming off of a bye?
You're right. They're coming off a bye.
They're coming off of a bye.
And we're coming off a devastating loss.
And they're coming off of a bye in which they lost one of their best 2 weapons on offense.
But they're getting their best running back.
Hey.
They're getting their running back. That will help.
Yeah. They'll be fine.
I hope we win. I want to believe in you, Jacob.
Y'all not making the playoffs, dog.
I'm glad that's the last game. With that being said, this was a fun episode.
This was awesome.
You had some nice nuggets, man. I really appreciate you coming on board with us.
Thank you.
Again, we got to stay tuned. You said when do you come on?
The show I co-host is the College Football Tailgate.
Okay.
Saturdays from 10 a.m. to noon on the Ticket here in Dallas.
I'm locked in now.
Locked in on that.
96.7 FM, 1310
I can't wait, man.
Get you some learning.
Online at theticket.com.
Yes.
I like it.
Again, if you haven't followed us already, this is the CouchCoachClub.com. This was fun. I can't wait for this next week of football. Hopefully we can bounce back. Without further ado, Mark, run that theme music.
Let's go.